Anthonites, we are about to go for a drive in this. Hi, I'm Anthony Smith. I used to live and work in the Philippines, and I was constantly amazed by all the amazing things in my proverbial backyard. Then, when I came back home to the States, everything just seemed like business as usual, until I realized there's always interesting stuff in all of our backyards. So from my backyard to yours, let's see if we can maybe have a little bit of fun today. Today, we're going to be taking a ride in this. This is a 2017 Toyota Camry Hybrid. And it seems like there are a lot of questions that people have about hybrids and how they work and, things like that. Even people who own them. Honestly, until I started digging, I had a lot of misconceptions. So let's go over a couple of them in this video, and if you have any questions about how they work or anything like that, let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll see if we can answer those. Cool. Next clip. Thing number the first. Hybrids don't get that good of mileage. Oh boy. So let's go ahead and turn this on. All right, as you can see right now, since I haven't actually started this trip, I'm getting 0 miles per gallon. But my average fuel economy, right here, 41.1. It's not uncommon for me to get 42, 40, I've even seen it as high as 43 once or twice. That's not even me trying, and I don't exactly drive like an old grandma either. And that's pretty good, seeing as that's averaged out over 421.9 miles. I have a lot of hills and mountains and whatnot around me, which both helps and hurts. But yeah, and I live near and drive in a medium-sized metropolitan area a lot, so that's a lot of stop and go, stop and start, that sort of thing, which when I have a lot of that stop start, whatever, sort of bumper to bumper traffic, that kind of thing, that's when this thing really shines. And that's those weeks where I'll get up to 43 miles per gallon. And this is a pretty spacious car. This is a pretty big car by a lot of standards. So that myth busted. Also, it's good to note that that's real world. That's not, EPA or whatever. Because keep in mind, those EPA ratings, I mean, they're good. They're a great benchmark, but a lot of times you'll see that they don't always take real world cases into scenario. It's all lab testing. Thing number the second. Oh, hybrids. That's great. That means that you can go full electric mode when you're out of gas. Well, kinda. So, for instance, this car and the Toyota Prius, they actually have an EV mode. In fact, they kinda have two. So, there's this button, which is essentially just a freaking party trick. It'll only work when it wants to, if it wants to. In fact, if I press it right now, actually right now it kind of wants to. So you can see up here, this turns on and it'll tell you you're in EV mode. However, you've also got this little thing here. What's the difference? As somebody who's used it quite a bit, the real difference is kind of negligible. Essentially, one, it works on demand, meaning you can turn it on and off at will by the press of a button. But again, that's sort of when it wants to. Some other vehicle manufacturers, like the Chevy Volt with a V, may work slightly different. But this one, if it's too hot, if it's too cold, if the battery's too low, you can't put that on at will. However, the other EV mode, the one that I showed you that stayed on when we were pressing the button, that one comes on quite a bit. And that's usually what comes on when you're at stoplights, when you're going downhill, or when you're just not putting a lot of load, a lot of demand into the engine. Thing number the third. Well, you have to plug those things in. Well, yes and no. Some of the newer ones do have like a plug-in hybrid version, which means that you can essentially leave the house every day with a full battery. And that's great. Also, make sure that your battery is fully conditioned when you leave the house, which essentially just means that it's to an operating temperature. It doesn't have to spend any energy either heating or cooling the battery. Most, like this is not one of those. In fact, this car has never been plugged into anything in its entire life. All of the electricity from this, for the hybrid battery, comes from the wheels. Comes from when you're braking. Comes from when you're going downhill and not hitting the accelerator. It comes from all those sources, turning that rotational energy into electrical energy and giving you that you can then use later. So yeah, it's really convenient. Never have to plug it in. At least, again, this model. Some you do, and honestly, those are kind of superior vehicles for the most part. So during that short drive, we saw a lot of things. We saw that the engine was supplying power. Now, the arrows show power. Power can be electricity or other things as well, but just let's think of it as just power. The engine was supplying power to the battery, to the wheels, and the battery at some points. Battery was supplying energy to the wheels, and yeah, so you can follow the arrows there. The general principle is that engines have a certain RPM, or revolutions per minute, that they operate most efficiently at. So what hybrids are really, really good at is tuning things so that the engine stays at that zone, that area. So it takes a lot of input from the transmission, from the engine, from the batteries to see how it can most efficiently get you to where you're going. So sometimes you'll see that, your electric motor and your ICE or internal combustion engine are firing. So that means that you're getting power from both places. Sometimes you'll just get it from one or the other based on how efficiently the engine can run. If all you need is for the electric motor to kick in, that's all it'll do. And why Toyota chose to add that EV button to the car, which only works when it wants to. In fact, I got a shot of it saying, "No, sorry, can't do that right now." While there was an 80% full battery or something, 70%, whatever. Why it chooses to do that, I don't know. I mean, if it's a party trick, that's great, but let us know that's a party trick. But, then again, you've got your other EV mode, the one that doesn't require the button, that stays on for, a lot more. So I don't understand. I just don't understand the logic there. But yeah, so there you go. Myth busted-ish? Maybe just more information about that? Less of a myth and more of a driving tip in general. So these cars tend to do much better with a technique called pulse and glide. It essentially means you get up to speed, then you back off of the accelerator a little bit, and you glide. You use that momentum that you've built up, and you use it to go where it is you want to go. So essentially, you can get up to speed and then you just kind of stay there. So you're not constantly hitting, the gas, the brake, the gas, the brake, or just constantly accelerating. And, so that's just another thing that if you happen to get one of these, or even if you're driving a standard internal combustion engine car, pulse and glide will save your fuel economy, and honestly, it's a much more relaxing driving style. So that's really the only things I can think of right now as far as common misconceptions and things like that about hybrids. I would like to do future videos where I talk about some more in-depth, more mechanical things that I've found out, over the past few months, specifically about the hybrid that I have regular access to, the Toyota Camry hybrid, and as an extension also the Toyota Prius, because they're essentially, very similar setups. Yeah, if you want a video like that, let me know in the comment section down below. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye. Thank you so much for watching today's vlog. If you'd like to watch more content, that's on screen now. Also, if you'd like to support this channel, you can find a Patreon link at the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Next vlog,